Well, Emily, thank you so much for that. Staying with healthcare, and an app backed by former CK Hutchison founder Ka Shing is launching today in the US and also Canada. It's an app called Driver, and its aim is to connect cancer patients anywhere in the world with treatment options, from advice from oncologists to clinical trials, without leaving your home. Now, the app is backed by Ka Shing. Will Polkinghorn is the CEO and founder of Driver, an online treatment access platform for cancer patients. Joining us live from Hong Kong, and still with us is our guest host in Sydney, Richard Martin. Will, pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about how Driver works.
Thank you so much for having me. Driver was designed to solve a problem, and the problem today is treatment access. If you're a cancer patient, whatever country you're in, the same basic event happens. You get cancer, you're scared, you reach out to anyone you can in your network, you go to the best hospital you can, you go to the best doctor at the best hospital that you can, and you walk into that room and you're evaluated and you're shown a set of treatment options, and you walk back out and you wonder if you've had all of your options available to you. And the answer is that you haven't. And the reason is because different doctors have different knowledge, different hospitals have different treatments. And so we have a new problem today with all of these treatments, with all of these new knowledges, with all of the new algorithms that are used to treat cancer. Many patients don't have access to them, even though that they exist. Enormous number of patients in the United States don't get standard of care. A small fraction of patients, less than 2 to 3%, get access to the most advanced treatments. So what Driver is a marketplace that sits between the patient and the hospital with the goal of giving the patient access to everything.
Well, I guess this would make a bigger difference probably with people, for people with rarer forms of cancer. So I want you to talk to us about that. And also importantly, this app, you download it, is it free? Is it, do you pay for it, or how does it work?
Yeah, so to take your first question first, you're completely right. Rarer cancers, by almost across the board, have poor prognoses. Not because by nature they're necessarily more aggressive. It's just that less research has been done on them. So you get a rare cancer, it's equivalent to, say, getting breast cancer in the 1950s and 60s. So our platform is going to make an enormous difference for people with rare cancers. It's going to empower every rare cancer to not be as rare anymore. By co-launching in the US and China, a rare tumor like, say, a lacrimal duct carcinoma, all of a sudden isn't that rare, because you're able to combine the patients from the United States and China, empower them with the standard of care, and empower pharmaceutical companies to be able to run their trials in a much more efficient way. In terms of the payment for Driver, the way it works from the consumer side, it's not free. Our flagship product is called Hyperdrive. It's $3,000. What you get is you get a Driver to go out and get your information, your records, your tumor. We process both for you. We filter the best treatment options for you available through our network. Includes Cleveland Clinic and the Mayo Clinic and University of California, San Francisco, and Stanford and Duke. Our flagship partner in the US is the National Cancer Institute. Our flagship partner in China is the Chinese National Cancer Center, the NCI equivalent. It empowers you to get access to all of those options. We bring you a doctor without you leaving your home to understand those options. You get to pick one of those options, and we then facilitate you getting the treatment at one of those centers. It costs $3,000, but we're working with a number of partners now to think about how we can begin to get this in the hands of people before they need it. We're going to be announcing a partnership with a large employer very soon, which would enable us to get this in the hands of entire sets of employees, where we would also be able to monitor how those employees are getting cancer screening, from mammograms to colonoscopies to PSAs, and they would get access to this extraordinary product called Hyperdrive at no additional cost. And so the idea there is to be able to push the cost to helping people on the order of dollars a month to ensure that they're connected to this operating system should they ever get it.
Okay.
Will, this is Richard. Where do you stand with the health management organizations in the United States? Do you work with them, or are you a run around them?
That's a good question. So we thought in when we were building our platform, who we wanted the primary stakeholder to be, and we really wanted it to be the patient. And so in building this space, this platform that occupies that empty space between the patient and the hospital, we wanted the patient to be the driver, if you will. Our second customer are our partner centers. Onboarding our partner centers, onboarding those unique treatments, those advanced therapies that they have trouble filling. The third phase of our platform is bringing pharma in to think about partnerships where we can augment the options that we can make available to our patients. We've not yet worked with an insurance company. We've not yet worked with a large payer. We are actively engaged in discussions, particularly here in Hong Kong and China. But however we do that, we want to make sure that we engage them in a patient-aligned way. There's been so much focus in America on defining the healthcare problem as a cost problem. And that really bothers us because at its core, when you look at the 95% of American cancer patients who have figured out a way to get their care paid for by their employer, by the government, by an insurance company, well, less than 50% of those patients we think are getting the most state-of-the-art standard of care. That's not a cost problem, that's a performance problem. So Driver's been focused on solving the performance problem that a patient today does not have access to all of their options.
Yeah.
I think if we can solve that performance problem, we're going to have radical ways to transform the cost.
So just a quick final question, Will. How quickly are you going to extend this to other diseases other than cancer?
We get asked that a lot. We get asked that increasingly by our partner centers, many whom, like the University of California, San Francisco, have mandates to take care of lots of different diseases. Our focus is on cancer. There is so much cancer in this world. The number of global cancer cases in the last decade went up by nearly 30%. There are 8 countries in Africa that don't have a single oncologist. We have a profound global shortage of oncologists. There's a shortage of oncologists in the United States. So we think that we've got a ton of work here to do in cancer. Our goal at Driver is to give every cancer patient around the world access to the best treatment. So I think we're going to be busy for a while, but Driver always manages to surprise me in terms of opportunities and assumptions that we make that potentially we, with more data, decide to make another decision later. But at least for now, we feel we have our plate full.
All right, Will, great to talk to you. Appreciate the time. Will Polkinghorn, their CEO and also founder at Driver. And more to come with our guest host, Richard Martin, coming up in just a bit. Still ahead, fresh data.